if we don't have the destination, then like we can't be super clear on the path. A goal is good. I like to look at it always as 3-year vision. Like, what is the vision? Bring it down to 12-month goals, because then we can sort of work towards a goal number. Like, let's say 100 would be like, that's a good goal to work towards, right? Hey, it's George Fourie. Welcome to another Martial Arts Media Business Podcast. Today we're doing something new. We're going to go with a full-on coaching call and do something a bit different and see if we can create some value, create a bit of conversation, and really help one of our guests go to their next level, which we're going to discover what that is. And so somebody that I've known for quite a while, Michele Ciampa.
Hello.
Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Michele Ciampa from Tasmania, Shotokan Karate Club in Tasmania. So welcome. How are you doing, Michele?
Good. Yourself?
Good. Cool. So if you mind just giving us a bit of a background, just a brief overview about your karate club, who you teach, how long you've been going for, etc.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so I started teaching in 2019, just in a small community hall at first, and then we had some renovations going on with that, so I had to find another location. So I found a place in a dance studio for a little while, and I was back to the community hall. And then just last year in October, I decided I'll just gamble everything and take a jump, and I opened in the main street of lovely Burnie here in Tasmania. So
congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so at the moment we teach very traditional Shotokan karate. I like to keep it as authentic as possible. Not really that many other karate clubs around. There's a few, but it's not huge like in the mainland. So yeah, we've got a bit of a gimmick having like the main street, and obviously people walking past and seeing the big signs every day, so that helps. At the moment I've got 54 students, mostly children. So my goal is now to try to get more teens and adults involved. So
all right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, awesome. So congrats on going full time.
Thank you.
How's that been going full time? What do you feel has been different since you've taken the leap?
Obviously much busier. So once I used to only teach 2 days a week. I used to teach Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then I took the gamble. I'm a chef by trade, so I'm used to those crazy chef hours. And I thought the dojo started to build, and I thought I'll put all my energy into this place and see how it runs. Definitely a lot busier, and with more days open, it's more variety from the different people that can't make the Tuesday class or whatever. They can come on a Wednesday or Thursday or Friday so I'm doing 5 days a week at the moment. So
very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So what's the big goal for you? Like if we had to let's go high level. Like if we had to have this chat 3 years from now, and we were looking back over all your progress, what would have to happen for you to feel happy about the movement forward?
Honestly, just the character building is the main thing. The difference you see in the students, like some people come in, they're really shy or awkward or have some anxiety problems, and just seeing their confidence grow is incredible. Like just helping people's lives, and the same way that it's helped myself. So if I can get enough people like that, and obviously the skill level is important as well. So
gotcha. So so making an impact with your martial arts is super
absolutely
important.
Yeah.
What if we had to wrap some numbers around that? So you had 54 students at the moment. What would be significant for you for a number of students that you feel you are making a decent impact in your community?
So at the moment, I'm already seeing a huge impact with the students I do have, and they're all doing really well and putting in the effort. Obviously, the more people I can help, the better. So probably around the 100 mark would be perfect, and who knows, it might grow and grow.
Okay. So is 100 the ultimate goal? Like, if you think like the day when you started the business is always you tap into this big vision and you like, sometimes we hold ourselves back in our thinking and think, well, yeah, that's not
Yeah.
really possible. What was that vision? What was that, man, if I could get my business to that, that'll be the ultimate for you personally and for your community?
Yeah. See, can't really put a number on it, to be honest. Just the more people I can help, the better. I mean, with the space that we have, around 100, or if more, then obviously we can open more hours, and who knows, eventually another location. So
Okay, all right.
yeah,
So tell me about that. So okay, so location and maybe another location. Do you have a sort of ideal where you think you'd want to have X amount of locations?
not really. I haven't really put much thought into it. Just I have had people message me saying, "Oh, I wish you was in our area," this and that,
All right.
and so, it's been kind of put in my head, but nothing. I'd prefer to focus on what I do at the moment and do this right before jumping out and doing other things. So main priority now is to build this up, and especially I'd like to get more teens and adults involved, because at the moment they're mostly kids from 7 to 12 is my main amount of students. So if I can impact teenage lives in those crucial years as well of development. So
What is the total number of students that would be both make a big impact and scares you at the same time?
I'd say, yeah, 150, 200 would probably be a bit, would be pushing it to fit everyone in. But obviously they're not all going to train at the same time. So
Yeah, cool.
yeah,
Remember, we're trying to talk about a vision, right? And
yeah,
vision
yeah,
isn't always like, so when we talk about vision, it's good to sort of remove current circumstances because then we get into like logistics, right? Like,
right.
because then we do the what ifs in our mind. So we're like, well, can't really do that because I don't have the space, or I don't have X amount of instructors trained up, so we can't really do that. So, and forgive me for sort of probing on it, right? But because this is sort of, if we don't have the destination, then like we can't be super clear on the path. So
Yeah,
it's
right.
a goal is good. Like I like to look at it always as like 3-year vision. Like what is the vision? Bring it down to 12-month goals because then we can sort of work towards a goal number. Like let's
Yeah,
say
right.
100 would be like, that's a good goal to work towards, right? That's a goal, but is it the vision? So just sort of breaking the two apart. So I'll rephrase the question just to see if we can get some more clarity on like, all right, well, that's where we would like to, that's essentially where we'd like to get it. If all things were possible, like situation was like, let's say you had all the instructors or you had, the space, where would you see like a vision for Shotokan Karate Club Tasmania?
A vision as in like the community
Yeah, like
or
if we just refine a number, right? I like to get clear on a number because then we know
okay, yeah,
like a number we can measure, right?
right.
Like what is a number of either like locations would be an ideal place for you to get to and amount of students in total.
Right. So if we're talking about just this location, I'd say 150.
Is it
Yeah.
1 or 150?
Uh, 100 or 150. Okay, 100 we'll say. That's, a more
Okay,
easy
cool.
to get to goal, more
Okay.
realistic, I guess. Yeah, if I had two locations, then I'd be looking probably to double that. So, yeah, so at least
Double that.
200,
Okay.
300. Yeah.
Do you feel 150 is unrealistic?
Uh, I don't think it's unrealistic. I believe we can do it. It's just I need to get my marketing right, I guess, to the right people. So,
Gotcha. Okay. All right, cool. Okay. So we have a number, right? 150?
yep, we'll go with that.
Right. Gotcha. Right. Awesome. At this point in time, it's good to wrap sort of numbers around it. What does currently 150 students look like in dollars for you?
So I charge $80 a month. So they pay
Okay.
a monthly fee, and then they can join as many classes as they like in that month. So
All right. So that's the goal. You've got 54 students. We want to get to 150. What has been working well? Where's the bulk of your students come from right now? Through marketing, word of mouth, bit of both?
Honestly, the local groups, Facebook groups. I
Okay.
did try
Local
a few ads and not many sign-ups from the ads. I get a lot of
Okay.
inquiries, but not many people follow up. But mostly I just post and share things in the local community groups, and that's where I'm getting most of the people. So
Great. Okay. Do you have a number of how many leads you get from that, give or take?
I'd say the majority have come from the community group. So I'd say at least 40 of those of the 54 that I have come from
Okay.
posting in groups. So
Gotcha. Okay. And then what's your frequency for posting in the groups?
usually once a week.
Once a week. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. And then the leads that would come from that would be like a handful, give a like.
Usually, yeah. Usually we get probably about, if we're going by month, probably would get 8 to 5 new students every month. So not a lot, but, and obviously sometimes we have drop-offs and we have, so that we need to work the retention rate as well. So
Okay, cool. And so ads haven't worked much for you, you mentioned?
no, so I've
Okay.
tried it a few times and just, it must be the way I'm doing it or something, but
It could be like, I mean, what we find is sometimes when ads work when you post it, it's great, but it also gives a false expectation of how ads work. Because in our experience, and like we've done ads for hundreds of martial arts schools, you can have a super good week, an okay week, and two terrible, well, one terrible week, 2 weeks that are okay, and 1 week that's really good. And if you always look at it in that context, it helps. It also, the strategy of how we go about it. So we use like the Facebook ad formula that we use. We would be split testing about 16 variations of ads because we want to always see what is working. So we find ads as a little bit of experience of knowing what needs to be in the copy, how to address the actual market, what the offer is, how do they start, how easy is it for them to start? Like, is the risk on you or is the risk on them? And then testing the different graphics and knowing what type of graphics to test. But even though we've tested hundreds of graphics, we still test it every time because every time we get a different result. So walk me through your trial process. So how do people start with you? Free
so
trial, paid
usually,
trial?
so they have the first lesson free. I used to do 3 lessons free. I found that the first lesson free works much better. So I just started going with that. So most people will come in, if they like it or not, I'll give them a membership form regardless. And if I see them the next week, I do. If not, sometimes I'll follow up. And also some students that have left for other sports, etc., I'll follow up on them sometimes, say how's it going if they're interested to come back. And some of them do come back. So I think it's always important to connect with people as well that way.
Gotcha. Okay, so 3 free classes.
1 now. I used to do 3,
Right.
but now I only do the
Right.
1, and that's working better for me. More people have been signing up since I do the 1 class. So
All right, perfect. And so when you sign them up, how does that process look? What do they get? Do they got to join? Is there a joining fee? Do they have to pay like purchase the uniform, etc.? How does?
yeah, so there's a $40 membership fee, and then the monthly fee, which is the 80, and then a uniform is around $60.
Okay, so where do you feel mostly stuck? Like, where do you feel is the business is perhaps like you're stuck or there's like it's a bit broken?
So the kids' classes are all going fine. It's mainly
Okay.
the adults and teens class. So we're not really getting the numbers that I'd like. So, and we get some people come in, they'll try for a little bit and they decide it's not for them and they don't come back, or so I'd really like to get more adults, and just trying to get them in is the hard part.
Okay. I want to just move away from the adults and teens. I know that's something that you want to build, and I know that's important to you, for obviously for the club to have, a good blend of all the age groups as well. And I mean, we could talk more about the motivation behind that. Do you have like an immediate, like sort of, there's an income goal, or there's like a number that you need to get to? Obviously, you've taken a lot of risk as well, because you've gone in full time. You've mentioned you've gone full time, so you've got to pay the bills, right? It's for you to make the impact in the community. There's got to be the income, right?
That's
so
right.
There's
Yeah,
got to be
exactly.
Income. Yeah. So, and our model is always, we want to help great martial arts squatters like yourself build a business that fulfills your purpose. And for your purpose to be present, you've got to have the income you desire, the impact you want to create in your community and through your martial arts, and then the lifestyle that goes with that. And in the beginning phases, the lifestyle is, well, it's not so much lifestyle because it's eat, sleep, breathe on the mat, because you got to make it work. So what is like is there a dollar number or like a student number that all right, now we're good. We're like, things are smooth. The pressure is off. You're getting the income that you need to make the club work, and you can still, live a comfortable life.
Yeah. Well, I'd say that 150 mark would be perfect, because that would give me, to cover the bills and also give me a bit more of a comfortable life. So.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So 150 at your current pricing.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. What if you could half that?
Half the number?
The goal, yeah.
Could do. I mean, that'd still get me by, so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Instead of the target being like 150, you could get your same income goal by maybe even 75. I don't know. We've got to run the numbers.
Yeah, I'd say around 80.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what's important to look at. If we're going to look at anything that's going to grow your business, we've got to have the numbers dialed in. And I think this is a thing that's often overlooked, because everyone looks at, okay, well, we've got our club, we've got our memberships, we feel the pricing is accurate for the market, and let's run ads. But then ads don't really work, because ads come with a dollar figure, leads cost, then there's a learning curve, converting cold leads, because a lead that comes in via Facebook ad is going to be a little different than the lead that was referred by one of your members or had some intent, meaning they went to Google and they did a search and they found you and now they're like interested. That is a whole different lead, because they showed intent. Facebook lead is, they're pretty much being interrupted from maybe doom scrolling, and so that takes a whole different conversion strategy to get them going. Now, the thing with the ads, and I know we're just assuming that ads is the strategy, because we've got a few other strategies that we can do. But either way, we need to make sure that your fees are in alignment with like a good pricing strategy that's got enough margin, enough profit. Otherwise, it's impossible to run ads. Because, I mean, if we were running ads for a mug, for example, what's that? $5, $10, and we're paying $2-3 a click. To make a sale for the mug, we're gonna have to sell a lot of mugs, right? So we can't just sell the one mug. We're gonna have to sell the box, or we might even need to get them on recurring. So maybe it's, well, you can buy 10 for $100, or get new mugs on subscription, or we sell mugs and we sell cutlery and we sell something else. So we got to raise the value of the offer. So if you think of the point where you can make the biggest impact, it's re-engineering the economics of your pricing. And so I had we do this is the first thing we do in our partners onboarding calls. And I spoke to a member last week who the goal was 200 students to hit his income goal and go full time, and we reduced that to 67.
Right.
So it's the easiest thing to do, and it's also the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
And let me explain why it's the easiest thing to do. It's the easiest thing to do because you just got to do it, right? It's the hardest thing to do because we've got mind clutter that we've got to get over,
Yeah.
and how we value our pricing. So let me ask you this. How did you get to $80 a month?
Okay. So I used to be way too cheap at the start. You know, the whole
Okay.
can't charge money for martial arts mentality that a lot of martial artists have. And I realized that has to go out the door, because if I want to do this, you know, I'm benefiting the community. And so that whole mentality of, I shouldn't charge too much, because it took me a really long time to be able to charge what I do. It wasn't until I moved into this new location where I had the overheads and I kind of had to, otherwise I wouldn't be able to be doing what I am doing today. So yeah, I started really cheap. I think it was may have been $10 a lesson or something. And
Okay.
then yeah, it may have been even cheaper at one stage. So
All
yeah,
right.
and then once I've got in this location, I found $80 was what I would need to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's kind of
Do
in the
you
middle.
feel,
Like I don't like to compare to other clubs. Most we're kind of in the middle. Some are around the 80 mark, some are around the 60 mark. So I'm not so expensive that I'm too overboard, but I'm not too cheap. So
okay.
does that make sense?
Yeah, cool. I do want to challenge you on that though, because I think you've got some margin to work with. And I feel comparison is the thief of joy. Comparing to other clubs is just you trying to be the average amongst other clubs. Whereas if you're the best, then I feel you got to charge the best, right? Provided, of
Right.
course, yeah. And sometimes people take this wrong when we explore this. It's like, we can deliver low power, low quality martial arts and charge high. No,
Yeah, I
it
know. Yeah.
means your martial art is there. It's legit. You're doing the thing that we know you are doing, and you provide that impact and you charge accordingly.
Right.
Because price in itself dictates value, right? I mean, if you had to swap, you get a Mercedes and you get a Kia, both great cars, one economical, one luxury. What if you swap the pricing? What if you just swap the pricing, and instead of playing couple of, I don't know I'm not that good on pricing with cars, but let's just say 50, 60 grand for a Kia versus 200K for a Mercedes. Let's say
Yeah.
you swap those. Let's say you just swap the pricing with nothing else. How are you perceiving the value of those vehicles? It's almost like you're
Yeah. Well.
automatically just saying, well, the Kia is better,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
True.
And it's without any rational other thought. It's just the price dictates the value. So if you are the best, it's hard saying that you're the best when you're the cheapest.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
In
we're
a way.
definitely not the cheapest. We're definitely like one of the
Right.
higher priced dojo around the area. So
All right.
yeah. I think
Okay, cool.
there's another couple that is the same price or a little bit cheaper, but yeah, I'm definitely up the top there, I think, in pricing. So,
Right. So
which
currently
sometimes
you
does scare people off a bit. I think a lot of people screw the face up when I do give them the monthly fee price, particularly the walk-ins. When I get walk-ins, and they always give them a card and stuff anyway, but a lot of them
okay.
kind of screw the face up a bit, and that.
How
And at the end of the
how
day,
soon
this is the
how soon does that come up in pricing and the price conversation, and where do you cover that?
that's usually one of the first things they ask is how much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next time somebody walks in and asks you that, I would change the posture of the conversation. Because here's the thing. When people walk into a place doing karate, the only question they know what to ask is the price.
Right.
They've got no idea what's going on there. They've got no idea the value. They've got no idea the impact. And the impact it's going to make on them, their child.
Yeah.
And without that context, the price is just a number that I want to pay or not, right? Because it
Yes.
means nothing. So if somebody walks in and the first thing that they ask is the price and you give them the joy of answering that, it's kind of done them a disservice because they don't know what that means. And so the
Okay.
next time somebody does that and walks in, I would just say, sure, happy to talk about price. So you meet them where they're at and you agree with them. And then you take control of the conversation and just say, is it okay if I ask you a few questions just to make sure it's a good fit?
Okay.
And most reasonable people would say yes. If, no, I just want a price, then you can revert back and say, well, price for what? Like, I don't know your needs. I don't know what you want. We've got several programs. If I can ask you a few questions, I'll be able to tell you exactly which of our programs is a fit for you or not. So changing your posture on
Yeah, right.
taking control of the conversation now puts you in the authority position to be able to diagnose before you prescribe. Because it's the same if you were to walk into the doctor's, at the doctor's and just say, I'm sick, give me this.
Yeah.
And he just say, grab these. Like, you wouldn't feel good about it.
No.
And clearly he's not a really good doctor, right? So
Yeah.
he's going to ask you questions and try and understand the symptoms before he can prescribe the solution. And so doing that, reversing those roles, it changes the posture and it shows that you are professional and that you are the authority. Because if you know whether you can help someone or not through your program, now you can tell them about the memberships. And if you so discover that it's not a good fit for them, and you can tell them politely and say, look, I don't believe, we're the right club for you, that really sets you above
Yeah, which I have
everyone
had to
else.
do before. I've had a few.
Okay.
Yeah. Not so much about the money side, but about other things. They want to rush their kids in and like even ask, how much if they can grade earlier and this and that. I'm like, we're not the right place for that. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I have had those. I have had to knock people back, but not really for the money side. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, people are struggling in that. Sometimes I'll, come up with some type of deal for people. But
Okay.
yeah,
All right. So I want to give you two strategies that you can try on. Now,
sure.
what I'm going to suggest is not to go, it's not to rip the Band-Aid off, meaning you're going to email all your members tomorrow and
Okay.
tell them that this is what's happening. We just got to try something on, right?
Okay.
And trying something on would be trying a new pricing structure. Now, just one clarification, what do people get for $80 a month?
So it's unlimited classes. So
Unlimited classes.
yeah,
Okay.
so they got 5 days a week they can train.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Without going into separating different tiers and things like that for now, we can talk about that at a later stage.
Sure.
I just want to give you a strategy for how you can change your pricing strategy and try it on like literally with a new person that walks in. Now, it's going to make you feel a bit uncomfortable,
Okay.
right?
Watch out. Then nothing grows in the comfort zone.
Well, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, 100%. Right. So discomfort, it kind of means we're leaning into the right direction. And two things are going to happen. Like someone's going to not blink and just go ahead like they would, or someone's going to say, no, that's too much. Now, when you get that feedback, you might want to just revert back. Like internally, you're going to say, oh, well, yeah, that little voice in your head was right. It's too much, right? Or you just haven't gotten comfortable enough with that pricing yourself. And so your feeling that it's too expensive is kind of giving off that vibe that you're not comfortable with it as well. So it might take a few times of getting comfortable with expressing what they get for that and what the value is, and go by that. Because if I can train 5 days a week for a month, divide, so that's 20 classes, I'm paying $4 a class.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Right?
see, I never even thought of it like that.
Yeah. Have you inquired at a local swimming school or maybe gymnastics and see what they charge kids?
No.
Right. And I know, and just for context for everyone listening, so Tasmania, bit smaller towns, less population, but still people would pay on par, good dollars for swimming and those type of activities for kids. So if you had to compare what you were doing, the value that you're delivering, because we can obviously argue all day that martial arts is better
Yeah.
swimming, or more essential. I wouldn't say more, you know what I mean. It's good, right? Let's not go into the comparison war, but it provides as much value as swimming and definitely gymnastics and all the other activities, right? So we know martial arts makes a massive impact on kids' lives.
Absolutely, yeah.
Are we pricing accordingly?
All right.
So if you're going to do comparison, that's probably where you should be, if at all, making a comparison, right? Because you're going to find you're always underpriced. So here's a pricing strategy that you can try on tomorrow. If we can take your annual student value from $960 per year, because that's what a student pays at the moment, to 2028.
Yeah, right. Just writing this down.
Should we give it a go?
We can try it.
Okay. So the strategy is to start with a smaller number.
Right.
And so for you to increase if you stay on the same terms of $80 a month, for what we're really talking about is you're doubling your price to like $160 a month or more, right? Which we don't want to do. We want to change the terms. And so we want to make the now number easier to get started. And so if you change your pricing terms to weekly, for example, now it's a lesser number to start with. And instead of going with like an even number, and if you had to look at, what's available in the market, you could find a nice sweet spot of the calculation I did was $39 a week. Or, well, let's just start with that. If we had to say that what you charge and what you deliver is $39 a week, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, when you say it like that, it doesn't sound like much at all.
It doesn't. No.
Yeah.
Only $39 a week. And you could train 5 times a week. So even if I showed up twice, and we never want to work, we want to work towards outcomes. So we don't want to talk about per class. But if you think of, mum walks in and what is the logical conversation? What's the conversation she's going to have with her husband? Right? How's she going to explain the pricing to her husband? So it's always good to think the mum that walked in with a child has, there's going to be emotion involved. You're going to establish the value. She's going to see it. But now she's going to have a conversation with her husband.
Right.
And so all that emotion is gone.
Yeah.
And so we want to have a rational strategy of what's the conversation she's going to have with her husband. And that is, well, if he trains 2 times a week, it's only $19 a class. Gymnastics is $26 or whatever that is, right? We can play around with things like that. But if they do train 5 times a week, they're getting it for only like $7.80 a class.
Right.
Right? So for as little as $7.80 a class. Now, I wouldn't want to just sell based on price, but that is, just for rationality, you can put that into place.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. If the next prospect that walks in today,
Probably will be.
Yeah, well, there we go.
Yeah.
So, Michele, how would you feel about charging $39 a week?
I think that's fine. Yeah. I think,
Yeah.
yeah. So my whole thing is just with that, like, do we still charge it the month or they pay by the week?
Pay by the week.
Pay by the week. Right.
Yeah. So, yep, there might be a few logistics, right, to get that going. But it is as simple as just making the decision.
Yeah.
The worst that could happen is 1 week from now, it completely bombs and we have to resort to a different number, not $80 a week, $80 a month,
Yep.
maybe $80 a week, but we got to revert to a different number, right? But for now, you've got something that you can change right now, and it just takes a decision.
Right. Okay.
And here's the impact of the decision is you completely change the goal number of students you need to be able to make the impact that you want, to be able to pay for the full-time facilities, be able for you to invest in your martial arts, invest in your training,
Yeah.
so that you can provide the value for your students.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sounds good.
We're going to do it?
Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So I just want to, before we wrap things up, I want to give you a couple of tools and resources that you can use. I'm going to send over the student, I'm going to send over the progress tracker. So the progress tracker is a system we have that goes over helps you keep track of your core numbers. How many leads you're getting, how many trial appointments you're getting from those leads, what are the conversion like from lead to trial and then trial to member. So I'm going to share this with you. This is something that we cover in our on-ramp, in our partners program.
Okay.
And what I'm also going to do for you just as a bonus is I'm going to give you an email strategy that we covered at one of our partners events, the partners experience. And it's literally to go to your existing student base and create an offer to cross promote to the parents. So your best paying customers are your existing students. They are already there. They've already invested into the club. And so all that they got to do is just got to put up the right offer for the right person at the right time.
Right.
So that's going to be an easy way for you to start. And maybe we can then look at how you can just put a different offer in front for them and fill up a bit of your teens classes and your adults.
Right. Just to be clear on this. So the 39 per week, that's just for any new coming members, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It makes more sense because, I wouldn't want to change the ones that I do have now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that is a completely different strategy for a different time. So the way sequencing of these things matter, right? And this is what we found up to now, the best sequencing to do this. Try it on first with new prospects. And from that point, we can go to your existing student base and upgrade that. That is the ripping off the Band-Aid, right?
Right.
That we use the student price upgrader. So it's a 3-part email strategy that we use to upgrade existing students. Yep, it can ruffle a few feathers, but for the most part, you'll be surprised that when you communicate your vision clearly of why you're doing what you're doing, most people jump on board, and you find that the people that do tend to drop off are the people that we're going to drop off anyway. Most of the people that we do this, our clients that we do this with, they get praise from their students because they know they were being charged way too cheap. Very interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Michele, thanks for jumping on. Thanks for doing this. I'm really looking forward to hear your progress, how this goes.
So how long are we going to run this for, and when do we touch base again to see how this is going?
You could shoot me a message.
Okay.
And let me know how you go. For now, your job would be implement the new pricing. Right. And I'd report back how it goes.
Excellent. Will do. Thank you very much.
Good stuff. All right, Michele.
Excellent.
Thanks so much for jumping
Thank
on.
you.
I'll speak to you soon.
Will do.